My name is Claire. I'm 30 years old, and I live in Philadelphia. I was driving my old but reliable car. This happened just a few months ago. I was going on a road trip for work. I had to sign some papers in person for a new job. It paid better and had better hours. I planned to drive there, stay one night in a motel, and then come back home the next day.
Sounds normal so far.
At first, the drive was fine. But after a few hours, the weather changed. Rain turned to snow. The snow kept falling harder, and I couldn't see the road clearly anymore. I didn't feel safe driving, so I got off the highway. I needed to find a motel for the night.
Smart move.
I stopped at a small gas station to ask for help. It was dark, and the place looked half closed. A man standing outside told me about a motel nearby. "Just go down the hill," he said. "It's cheap and always open." The place was called Evergreen Inn. I drove slowly and found it a few minutes later. A big neon sign blinked vacancy. There were only a few cars in the parking lot. The building looked old and kind of sad. Yellow lights hung over the walkway. It didn't look dangerous, but it didn't look nice either.
That already sounds a little creepy.
Inside the office, a tired-looking woman sat behind the counter. She didn't smile, just pushed a register toward me and said, "Fill this." I picked up the pen and wrote my name, license plate, and phone number. She barely glanced at the page before tearing off a key from a ring. Room 112. No breakfast. Ice machine's broken. She handed me the key. I paid her $60 in cash and headed to my room.
She didn't even check your ID.
Nope. She looked too tired to care. Felt a bit careless, but I didn't question it. I figured maybe that's how motels like this run. I walked down to room 112. It was a small room. One bed, old furniture, red carpet. It was cold, but the heater worked. There was no Wi-Fi. I had one bar of service, just enough to try texting my sister that I had stopped for the night, but it wouldn't send.
That's frustrating.
After a shower, I was drying off when I heard a knock on the door. I stopped moving. Who knocks at a motel door late at night? I stayed quiet. 3 more knocks. Louder. I didn't say anything. I didn't open the door. I got down on the floor and looked under the door. I saw black boots. Someone was standing there, not moving, just waiting. After a minute, the boots walked away. I sat still for a long time. Then my phone buzzed, a voicemail from a number I didn't know. I listened. A man's voice. Calm. Slow.
"Hey there. You checked in late. Just wanted to say if you need anything. I'm in the room next to you."
114. That's it. No name. Just that. I looked out the window. There was a new SUV in the lot. It hadn't been there when I arrived. I didn't like this. I pushed a chair under the doorknob and turned off the lights.
Good thinking.
As I sat there, staring at my phone, I kept wondering, how did he get my number? Then it hit me. The guest book. The one on the counter when I checked in. My number was written in there, clearly. If he came in after me, maybe he saw it. I thought about calling the front office, but the signal was awful. My text had barely gone through, but I did not get any trouble receiving a text message. It was weird. That woman at the desk didn't seem alert or helpful. Honestly, she looked like she could fall asleep mid-sentence. And the biggest reason, I was scared to open the door. If he was outside, watching, I didn't want him to see me. I heard a sound from the bathroom. It was a soft scrape, like something sliding behind the wall. Then a thud. My heart jumped. I walked into the bathroom and listened to the wall. Whispers. 2 voices. Low and soft. The bathroom wall was next to room 114. I stepped back. I didn't want to be here anymore. I tried to call 911, but there was no signal. My phone says emergency calls only. I typed a message to my sister, weird guy next door. Whispering, I'm in motel room 112 off Highway 9. The message was finally sent.
Wow, so intense.
I sat on the bed. Waiting, I told myself maybe it was just the walls. Maybe I was overthinking. Then I heard the door handle move. Slowly. Like someone was testing the lock. I yelled, "I called the cops!" Silence. Then a soft voice through the door said,
You shouldn't lie.
My blood ran cold. I grabbed my keys and phone, put on my shoes, and opened the bathroom window. It was freezing outside, but I didn't care. I climbed out and landed in the snow. My feet were soaked, but I ran to the front office.
You were brave to do that.
I banged on the glass until the woman opened the door. I was shaking. "Someone's trying to get into my room." He said he's in room 114. She looked surprised. "There's no one in 114. She said. "Yes, there is." He left a voicemail. He knocked on my door. I begged her to check the room with me. She grabbed a master key, and we walked down the snowy sidewalk. She opened the door to room 114. It was empty. Bed still made. Room cold. Lights off. And in the bathroom, all the lights were off. But the small nightlight by the sink was glowing. The floor felt cold. I looked down. The washroom foot mat was wet, soaking like someone had just been there. Then I noticed something else. The small window above the toilet was slightly open. A cold breeze moved the curtain, just enough to make it sway. She stood still for a moment, staring at the window. Then she leaned closer and whispered, "This room hasn't been booked in 2 days." Just then we heard the SUV leaving. I rushed toward the window, but it was already too far, and I couldn't see the license plate. It slowly disappeared into the snow-covered road. We went back to the front desk to check the security camera footage. It showed black and white video. She rewound the tape. It showed me checking in my car. Then the SUV arrived. But no one ever got out of the SUV. The cameras were old, low quality. The video was too grainy. The plate was just a blur.
No way to trace it.
None. It was like he knew exactly when to leave.
That is so creepy.
I couldn't stop shaking. I didn't want to go back to my room. And no way I was staying there after that. Thankfully, my sister had gotten my message. She'd been driving already and was only 30 minutes away. I waited in the office with the woman until she pulled up. Later, I reported it to the police. They found nothing. The phone number from the voicemail disconnected. It led nowhere. But I'll never forget that voice, or the boots, or the whisper behind the wall. The road I took that day was just my usual way. I have been taking this road for years now, and it was unusual to see that road almost empty. I was about 20 minutes into the drive home when I noticed my gas light turned on. Not great. The closest gas station was 10 minutes away. It was the only one on this stretch of road, and I was already heading that way.
Were you nervous yet?
Not really. I had no reason to get nervous. But when I got to the station, I noticed something was off. It was the same gas station I've been seeing all those years, but this time the place looked old. Maybe because the lights were on, but dim and flickering. The sign above the shop was missing a few letters. It looked like no one had updated anything in years. There was only one other car there. A rusty, beat-up pickup truck parked at the pump. A tall man in a dark jacket and baseball cap was standing beside it. He turned his head as I pulled in and watched me the whole time. I nodded at him politely, but he didn't nod back. Just stared. I walked past him and into the small shop. Inside, the air smelled like gasoline. The clerk behind the counter looked half asleep. He didn't greet me, just stared at the screen in front of him. I paid in cash for gas and grabbed a bottle of water. As I left the store, I noticed the man at the pump was gone, and so was his truck. I looked around but didn't see any headlights on the road. I filled my tank quickly and got back in my car. Probably just someone passing through like me. I drove off. But 2 minutes down the road, I saw that same pickup truck was parked off the road, halfway hidden in the trees. No lights. Engine off. I slowed down as I passed. The truck was empty. Or at least it looked empty. I kept going. I turned my music off. My heart started beating faster. About 5 minutes later, I heard a strange sound coming from my car. A soft bumping. Like something was wrong with one of the wheels. I glanced at the dashboard. Rear tire flat. I pulled over and stepped out. My back tire was completely deflated. I hadn't hit anything. No pothole, no debris, just flat. That's when I knew. Someone had slashed it. And it wasn't just someone. It was him. I felt a chill go through my entire body. I reached for my phone and opened the roadside assistance app. As it loaded, I heard something. An engine. Very quiet. Low, just a soft growl in the distance. I turned around slowly. Far down the road, maybe 200 feet behind me, I saw the same pickup truck. Just sitting there, watching. I couldn't see the driver, but I knew it was the same man. I felt it. I walked quickly to my trunk and pulled out the emergency flashlight my dad had given me. It was long, bright, with an SOS mode. I turned it on and aimed it toward the truck. The beam lit up the front windshield, and for just a second, I saw him. He was sitting behind the wheel, but his face, it wasn't blank. He was smiling. Wide. Too wide. I dropped the flashlight and ran. Not to my car, into the woods. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to hide. I ducked behind a thick tree, then crouched low. I was breathing hard. The air was freezing. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped my phone again. I dialed 911.
Did they answer?
They did. A woman's voice came on the line. I whispered everything. Where I was, what had happened, what I saw. She asked me to stay on the line and keep hidden. She was calm, professional. Then I heard a car door slam. The man was out of the truck. I heard his boots crunching slowly over the gravel near my car. And then a voice. Deep. Too friendly. Need help with your tire. I held my breath. I didn't move. I whispered to the 911 operator. He's outside. He's right by my car. She asked if I could see a weapon. I was about to answer when the call dropped. No signal. I stared at my screen. No bars. Just the woods. Just the dark. Just him. I stayed hidden for what felt like hours, but was maybe only minutes. Then I heard something strange. Another engine. A second vehicle was coming down the road. It slowed, then stopped near my car. I peeked through the trees. Another truck. Someone else. The man from the first truck walked up to it. They started talking. I heard words like breakdown and help. I couldn't stay hidden anymore. If I waited, that second driver might leave, and I'd be stuck alone. I stood up and stepped onto the road. "Help!" I yelled. "I don't know him. He followed me." Both men turned. The second driver looked shocked. He stepped out of his truck and looked at me. Then he looked at the flat tire and back at the first man. That's when the man from the pickup started backing up. Fast. He didn't say a word. He got into his truck, slammed the door, and reversed down the road until he disappeared into the trees. Gone. The second man came over to me. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. "I thought something felt off," he said. "That guy looked weird." "I called the police," I said. "The call dropped, but I think they got my location." We waited together in silence. 10 minutes later, the flashing red and blue lights of a patrol car appeared down the road. The officer took my statement. The second man confirmed everything. The officer said he'd checked the gas station cameras to see if they caught the man slashing my tire. The tow truck arrived a little while later. The driver looked at my tire and frowned. "Clean slice," he said. "Straight cut. Someone did this on purpose." I rode with the tow truck back into town. My dad picked me up. The officer never called back. Maybe the cameras didn't show anything. Maybe they did. But what keeps me up at night isn't what happened. It's what almost happened. Someone waited, followed, planned. That man picked me. And if I had stayed on the road or answered him, if that second truck hadn't shown up, I might not be here to tell this story.